90 minutes. That is literally all that separates one nation from absolute football immortality. Spain and Argentina are now just one victory away from lifting the greatest prize in world sports. But, beyond the players on the pitch, there's another truly fascinating battle going on. It's a clash of two total masterminds. Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're previewing the 2026 FIFA World Cup final, but we're going to look way beyond the grass. We're diving into the compelling biographies, the unique coaching philosophies, and the intriguing numerical blueprints of the two men calling the shots, Luis de la Fuente and Lionel Scaloni. Now, we all know the match is ultimately decided by the players out there on the field, right? But we're asking a slightly different question today. Could the Noom's numerical profiles of these two managers actually offer us an extra highly intriguing lens on this historic matchup? We aren't saying numbers predict the winner, but we are going to objectively examine how each coach's unique life journey and energy phase might just relate to the biggest match in world football. So, here is a quick look at where we're headed. We're going to set the stage for this ultimate final. Then we'll break down the distinct journeys of both De La Fuente and Scaloni, bring them together for a tactical and numerical head-to-head, and finally, look at the historic stakes of this clash for immortality. All right, let's jump right into it and look at the monumental stage set for this epic final. Honestly, this is a scriptwriter's absolute dream. For the first time since 1992, the top two teams in the FIFA World Rankings are meeting in the final. We've got the reigning 2024 Euro and Nations League champion Spain, representing Europe as the ultimate possession masters. They rely on this suffocating midfield and incredibly dynamic young wingers. On the flip side, Argentina, the reigning 2022 World Cup and Copa America champions, brings unparalleled defensive grit and absolutely lethal counterattacks. Previous matchups between these historic nations have always been fiery for sure, but they have never clashed with stakes this astronomical. This is a final that's literally going to define the next era of international football. Now, let's shift our focus to the mastermind behind Spain's dominant run, Luis de la Fuente. De la Fuente's rise to the top wasn't some sudden leap into the media spotlight. Not at all. He built his elite career step by patient step, literally from the grassroots up. He actually started as a professional player back in the 1980s, winning 2 La Liga titles with Athletic Club. But here's a fun fact. After hanging up his boots, it took him well over a decade to finally take charge of Spain's U19 squad. It really proves that good things come to those who wait. He then went on to win the U19 Euro in 2015, the U21 Euro in 2019, and snagged an Olympic silver in 2020. This deep, profound understanding of his young players allowed him to flawlessly integrate an exciting new generation into the senior squad, leading them straight to Nations League and Euro 2024 glory. He truly restored Spain as one of football's elite. So, what do the numbers say about him? According to his Domstim's profile, De La Fuente is a Life Path 8, which is known as the powerhouse. Driven by his specific success code and unique core calling number, this path perfectly reflects a career built on tactical intelligence, emotional control, and highly consistent structural continuity. While his massive strength lies in incredible organization and astute decision-making, a classic weakness of this path can sometimes be a stubborn reluctance to abandon Plan A. But the key advice for an 8 is to stay consistent, because continuity is their absolute greatest asset. And honestly, that's something De La Fuente has proven time and time again. Now, if you look closely at his life graph, it's super fascinating. His chart shows this mid-path bloom with a significant energy peak hitting right at age 49. And guess what? That was exactly around his transition into elite youth coaching. What this tells us is that every single season before that peak was basically preparation, and every season after is integration. Right now, perfectly matching his appointment as Spain's manager and those massive Euro and Nations League victories, his graph shows he's operating in a powerful above-soul line plateau. In this phase, momentum just flows freely, resistance eases up, and doors open with way less force. He is a manager in total absolute harmony with his system. Does this current phase suggest he's heading for the greatest achievement of his career? Let's turn to the other side of the pitch and look at Argentina's fierce and adaptable leader, Lionel Scaloni. Before becoming a manager, Scaloni was a relentless player for Deportivo and the Argentine national team. His transition into coaching, it was incredibly rapid. He stepped up as caretaker after 2018 and immediately set about rebuilding the national team into a powerhouse. He's cultivated an identity that is built on extreme, almost chaotic resilience. Following their dramatic semifinal victory, Scaloni actually labeled his squad as stubborn warriors, and he hit the nail on the head. These are players who grew up competing under immense pressure. When their backs are against the wall, they fear absolutely nothing. They function like a deeply loyal family unit that actually waits for an opponent to show just a hint of hesitation before ruthlessly striking back. And their path to this final brilliantly illustrates that stubborn resilience in action. I mean, just look at Argentina's grueling 2026 knockout run. They defeated Algeria and Austria in Group J, sure. But then they consistently fought back from the absolute brink of elimination. They survived grueling extra-time matches against Cape Verde and Switzerland. Then, no way, they miraculously overturned a 2-0 deficit to beat a disciplined Egypt side 3-2. And the ultimate test? Recovering from a 1-0 deficit against England to snatch a sensational stoppage-time winner to make it 2-1. Scaloni himself has noted that his team plays its absolute finest football when facing extreme adversity. So let's check out Scaloni's Doms Gnomes profile. His life path number is 1, which defines him as the pioneer. The pioneer is completely focused on learning the benefits of independence and leading the charge. This perfectly encapsulates how he independently leads his tight-knit family unit through intense, high-stakes adversity. He refuses to rely on conventional tactical safety when raw heart is required. Driven by his specific core calling number, his greatest strengths are elite communication and incredible tactical adaptability. If there's a weakness to look out for, it's that this pioneering energy can sometimes risk relying a little too heavily on emotional momentum over structured control. Adding another layer to this, his profile features the specific Domsnoom's success code 75712. This unique sequence represents the distinct signature of his energy in this lifetime, perfectly aligning with his extraordinary capacity to keep a squad composed and ruthless, totally thriving when the stakes are at their absolute highest. Furthermore, looking at Scaloni's life graph, his current cycle flawlessly mirrors his real-world trajectory. From rebuilding the squad for the Copa America, to winning the 2022 World Cup, to maintaining Argentina among the elite for this 2026 run, he is operating in a highly dynamic, historically potent phase of his chart. Could this life graph indicate yet another historic chapter for Argentina's football story? So the really crucial question is, how do these two vastly different masterminds stack up when they are pushed together head-to-head? This comparison highlights a fascinating juxtaposition of extremes. On one side, you have the patient, structured powerhouse of Spain, guided by an architect who has meticulously built his system from the ground up as a patient teacher. On the other side, you've got the fiercely independent pioneer of Argentina, a stubborn warrior and family head who unites his squad to thrive in chaos. Tactically, it is going to be De La Fuente's 4-3-3 possession and quick transitions, clashing directly with Scaloni's relentless intensity and total adaptability. Let's take this down to the pitch and see how these contrasting styles build into specific battlegrounds. We're going to see Spain's structured possession control constantly tested by Argentina's chaotic pressing intensity. We'll watch Spain's youthful, highly talented wingers go up against that famous, gritty Argentine defense. But perhaps the most critical battle of the entire match is structured dominance versus emotional momentum. This is especially true regarding tactical substitutions in the final 40 minutes, a window of the game where Scaloni's Argentina has repeatedly proven they can completely rewrite a match's destiny. Everything we have analyzed today comes down to this Sunday, a final for absolute immortality. We've seen two entirely different paths to this final. While De La Fuente's Spain calmly and precisely swept aside France 2-0, showcasing absolute tactical perfection, Scaloni's Argentina had to rely on pure, unyielding heart to survive England. As it was said about Scaloni's squad, those final 40 minutes of the contest served as a perfect reflection of everything his camp wants football to represent: immense heart and unbreakable collective belief. It perfectly sets up a breathtaking clash of footballing philosophies. World Cup finals are remembered for generations. And while we know absolutely for sure that the match will be won or lost by the players on the grass, comparing the biography, leadership, and numerical blueprints of these two managers offers us a phenomenal narrative lens. We are left to wonder, will it be the structural consistency of the powerhouse operating in its optimal energy plateau, or the resilient pioneer who thrives in ultimate adversity? Whose numerical blueprint will ultimately align with the 2026 World Cup trophy? It's going to be an incredible final. Thanks for joining us for this explainer, and enjoy the match.